Hey y'all, welcome to Convos with Bree. That's BREE. Today is day 25 of the Visibility Challenge, and I have talked a lot about the negative impact of others and what that can do to our lives and to our psyche and to the energy as a collective. However, in the same sense that the negative energy can change a collective, so can the great ones. And today, I want to share a bit about this journey and what impact these positive people have had on my lives. And honestly, I didn't see any of this coming because when I started this journey, I decided on a random day while I was doing yard work in the backyard, and I was listening to a podcast that a friend of mine had sent me. And she said, "Hey, I think you'll really, really love this podcast." And it was called It's Fucking Spiritual by Rachel Gibbler. And Rachel changed my whole life that day in the backyard. Rachel is the reason that I decided to sign up and go for it and go back to school to be a coach. And I didn't want to just do a certification program because I really, really wanted to dive in and be fully immersed. And when I went back to school for it, I ended up going through this crazy intensive program that I did not expect. I knew it would be a deeper dive, but I did not know that it would be as intense as it was. And I thought I was just there to learn how to coach others. But the way that they had me learn was to be coached and to see what it felt like to be on the other side and to see how difficult it truly was to go through these things. And honestly, I thought that I was healed enough and that I had enough self awareness that it wouldn't really affect me. Uh, it affected me. It took me out at the knees at times and really made me question if I could actually do this, if I could take people through what I had gone through and in their own journeys. And it was pretty nerve wracking, but I did it. And every single person that I talked with and went through that with, they all said the same thing to me. They said, "Damn, Bree, you are a natural at this." They all told me that they wished that they got it the way that I did. But what they didn't understand was what I had to go through to get there. And there was one day when I was on a call with one of the coaches that was working with the school, and within 5 minutes of that phone call, she had me in shambles. I was saying all the things that I previously had not been able to ever say out loud. Tears were spilling out of my eyes, and I was looking my depression head on, and it was insanely overwhelming. But she just sat there and she just allowed me to breathe, and she breathed and she waited and she felt it when that moment opened back up and she could come back in and coach me. And man, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And she helped me more than she knows. And then I ended up wanting to dive deeper into the things that came up in my own personal coaching lessons. And I wrote 2 books. I wrote 2 books to start letting out pieces of the story that I kept hidden. And when I wrote the books, I really only had a handful of people that were truly supportive about that. And then when I published the books, I started to have so many more people that were supportive about that. And I was a coach at Weight Watchers at the time, which that group of people changed my life. The other coaches, the guides, the actual Weight Watchers crew that were coming into the meetings, and I I felt so nervous when I started because I took over a class that the higher ups, they're the only ones I didn't like in Weight Watchers, the higher ups. And once it changed hands, that's when it got really bad. And that is the only reason I left, was because the higher ups were, in my opinion, ruining what it was. And I saw them repeatedly like not care about their actual paying members. And I just I couldn't stay with a company that didn't support the fundamentals of the business and how it got started and the history of Weight Watchers. I'm obsessed with it. I love the way that the woman that created it. I love her story, and I just felt like they didn't care the way that they should have, and I didn't want to go the route that that company was going. But and they honestly straight up discriminated against me and then ghosted me. So it was not a fun ending. However, the people, the actual foundation of the meetings were those people that came in and they showed up and they were vulnerable. And we talked about, oh man, we talked about so many beautiful things. We would stay after my classes sometimes and we would workshops, that's the right word. And we would do our own little workshop where we would sit in a circle. Sometimes it was one-on-one. Sometimes it was a crew of us that all wanted to support each other and dive a little deeper. And man, we started healing things that hadn't been healed in decades. And it was absolutely beautiful. And it was really what sealed it in for me that this is what I have to do. And I'm working on getting my own group things up and running. So if you're watching and you have any interest in that, let me know. I'm debating between in person and online. So if you have any interest, please let me know. I could really use some people to bounce ideas off of that actually are interested in participating in this. So getting back on track here, those meetings and those people changed my life. And they were some of the most supportive people when I told them that I had officially published a book. When I told them we were going on the book tour, they were so wonderful to me all the way through. And I genuinely love the people that have been with me and so supportive on this journey. It was not easy to break out of all of these hard spaces. And I had a lot of things about myself that I didn't love. I didn't love how I reacted a lot of the time. And I did not like how I let things affect me and I would lash out and be so defensive. And I didn't want the world to see that side of me. So I was really afraid to ever show a hard moment because I thought that it was like everyone would see right through me. Like I wasn't really this nice person because I had a few bad moments, because I had areas that I still wasn't healed in myself. And that was not accurate. However, I do not regret taking the time behind the scenes to heal and to be able to come back and fully step into this person who is just love and kindness. Do I still have bad days? Sure. Do I still have bad moments? Yeah. But it's like a 2 where it used to be a 10, and I can handle that. I don't mind if anybody sees that. I can talk about it. I can be real about it. I can share it because certainly I'm not alone in this. And then I did a book signing, and oh my gosh, you guys, the coffee house. It's down in the East Village on Jersey Ridge Road. Diane and Jimmy were so wonderful to me. And they let me do the book signing there. They put my books in the coffee shop. They have been nothing but supportive, whether I was here or on the road. They are just these beautiful, beautiful souls. And I I just wish them all the success. So seriously, go get a coffee from the coffee house on Jersey Ridge Road. Tell them I sent you. They are so beautiful. They are so kind. And they have their own struggles too. Life and these people in it aren't always great to them either. And they should be, because, man, they really, really, really want to help anyone that they can. They love collaborations. They love supporting local. They are just wonderful humans. And they made me feel so good about holding this book signing there. And then all these people showed up and bought books and wanted me to write in their books. And it was so beautiful. And then Chris and Anna True. Oh my God, you guys, if you know them, oh my gosh. They got me into my first like street fair market where I got to bring the books and I got to do all of these things. And I met all of these other creatives and beautiful souls that some of these people I still think about daily, and I just send them so much love. And they were just so kind. They were so sweet with the conversations that we had, the support that I felt from them. Like, man, it was just really nice. And then we started hanging out with more people that were like this, and they were so wonderful. And then I ended up getting in with T1. And T1 Entertainment is out in Cedar Rapids, and the Soundbox Recording Studio, which is also out in Cedar Rapids. They were the ones that let me get on the mic and record podcasts. And y'all, I felt so bad because I recorded one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. It was a podcast called The One Where We Met. I did like 10 to 14 interviews with different people. And they were some of the most magical, best things I've ever done on camera. But something happened that I wasn't expecting. And that was, when I'm with somebody and I have a conversation with somebody, they bear things that they maybe wouldn't have said if it was somebody that wasn't me. And I didn't know if I wanted to share that with the world. I felt very conflicted with some of the things that they had told me, with how they would feel when that came out. And I didn't want them to regret having that conversation or putting so much of themselves so vulnerably online. And something didn't feel right. And then I did an interview. It was Tone, who owns T1, and then Marco, me, and we went out and we interviewed Sten. And Sten is this incredible artist. He is incredible. And his story is, his story literally knocked me off my feet. And it made me want to dive in even deeper. But he said something will happen and this will not be able to come out. It was too honest. And he said, there's too many people listening, and there's too many people that don't want this story to come out. And I had never experienced that at that point in time yet, but he was not wrong. He recorded the sound, and then we did a backup sound. We tested it. Everything was good. It was starting. And then when it was over, there was no sound from his soundboard. It was like it just shut off once we started getting into what he was saying didn't want to get out. And then we started watching our videos back, and they all, everything, every piece of it had missing parts, glitches. It was absolutely insane. And that's when I got aware that we were not alone. And that's all I can really say about that, because we had so many cameras on, cell phones, regular cameras, the sound, like we had it all. It was prepped and ready, y'all. And it would not work. But we still made magic happen in that room, and he changed my life with that conversation. And I know that I changed his with that conversation, because when we first walked in there, Tone knew I was good, but Tone didn't know I was that good. And Sten, I don't think, thought he was going to get any type of real questions from me. And when we got into it and he realized who I was, it changed. And we will all be lifelong friends. If any of these people that I came up with in T1 needed anything from me at any point in time, I would be there, because they literally changed my life. We started having these meetings, and we would just talk about mental health and growth and social media and what we were struggling with and where we wanted to go, goals, all of these things. And literally, when Tone was shooting the video in Kansas City at the Chiefs Super Bowl parade, I think it was like one day before he was getting ready to shoot, he said he found out that they actually used his song in the Super Bowl at the end when they won. And he was like, we have to go out. We have to strike while the iron's hot. And all of us packed into our car, which we had this old beater car at the time, and we had just driven it all over the Southwest, and the shocks were going out. Like, it was terrible. And there's so many of us shoved in there like sardines, and we didn't even care, y'all, because we were working with what we had. And we all stayed in one hotel room. We dropped everything and went, and we just did it. We used what we had. We used our resources. We all just supported each other. And that was the first music video that I was in. And I never in a million years thought that your girl would end up in a music video. And now I've been in 2. But it was just such a fun, beautiful experience. And we had moments where, I won't use names, but one of us wanted a hot dog real bad. We were getting a little hangry, and he was getting a little snappy, and we had moments like that we were all kind of, our patience was wearing thin, but we made it, and we were, even those moments, we were laughing, we were having a good time. We got him some food. It was just, it was so chaotic though, because also we had no plan, because we never have any plans. We all are kind of alike in this sense. And the ones that were there that like plans knew it was going to be like this, and that it would be extra stressful for them, because the majority of us do not plan. And we ended up with no cell service, because there was so many people that it just blacked out the service. And we got separated. Somehow we still found our way back to each other. It was like the 90s. We end up in this bar where half of us are sober, and we are just like getting buck in this bitch. We were having the best time. We meet the owners. We're meeting all these people in Kansas City. Like, God, it was so much fun, you guys. And I just sat there, and I had so many moments where we would be doing something with T1, and I would just sit back and look at these beautiful, beautiful angels. And I thanked life, I thanked God, I thanked energy. I thanked every single thing you can thank. I thanked for these people because this was the first time in my entire life I had been in a room and I had been friends with an entire crew of creatives. People who were like full on going for their dreams. They were trying and they were falling and they were getting back up. They were failing forward. They were learning. They were hell bent on not giving up. And it renewed something inside of me that I didn't even realize I was missing. I had felt so alone in my dreams because even the people that were supporting me, they were supporting this idea that I could do something they've never seen before. I could do something that they've never seen anyone that they know do before or try before. And I needed that and I appreciated that. And I would have never been able to get off the ground without that. But I only got so far before it started to feel like I was just going to let everybody down. Like, how long do I keep trying? I mean, already at this point, I've been trying for like a long, long time. And I've been actually in it for since 2019 is when I really said, this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm doing with my life. And everything I've done since then has been to build this. And there are days when I still feel like, maybe I should throw in the towel. Maybe this is never going to be what I need it to be to actually make this my life. But then when I think that, I can't. I have to. I am possessed when it comes to this. I love it so much. I could never just stop because this is what I'm here for. And it just reminds me that I already know I've already won because I'm doing it, because of the people I've met. And T1, honestly, one of my favorite things that I ever did with T1 was so simple. But it was one day that our good friend said, hey, you got to come to the studio. I'm going to record a new hit. And we've gone a few times with different crew members of T1 at this point, and being in the studio while they are recording is my favorite thing. It is by far my favorite thing, especially at that point in time. At that point in time, I was still struggling so deeply with my hearing. And so many things in the music world, you need your hearing. And these guys printed off the lyrics for me. When Tone didn't even have the lyrics for it, he made them. He made all the lyrics for his songs so that I could have them and I could read them. And the lyrics of their songs are oh my God, they're just magic. They're magic. And without them, I would have been missing so much of what I needed. And so I've been to multiple studios and we've done this, but watching the way that they work together, watching somebody say, while we're there, oh, I've always wished that I could have the courage to get in there and actually record like a verse or a song. And they're just like, jump in, let's try it. Let's see what you got. Like, the support and the love and the energy that goes into every single thing that they do is just out of this world. And they made me feel like I could literally do anything. And the night that I met them all, This is actually a funny story, but Marco had reached out to the Iowa Music Awards page and said that he would love if I could be involved in it. And I did not even know he reached out to them. And they had somebody that fell through because they were sick and they couldn't make it. And so he ended up having me swap in and be a presenter. And he was so excited that I was coming in to do this. And you guys, I bought this dress that I would have never in a million years bought or worn. But I was just feeling so confident and so good. It was hot pink. I felt absolutely beautiful in this dress. First time in my life I have ever put a dress on and went, wow, this is who I am. And then they had the whole setup, the photographers and the red carpets, and they just had everything. And it was so beautiful, and it was absolutely incredible. And everyone that I met, it was so wild because everyone that I met that night, I was just drawn to, or they were drawn to me. And that was our group. It was like that night we all knew. And fast forward, I think it was like 2 weeks before this, we went to a sober bar in Iowa City to watch the Iowa game. And Marco sees this girl that she's working. She's a waitress at the bar for the day that we go in. And he just goes up to her and he's talking to her and he waves me over. And he said, I don't know why, but you two have to meet. And he just walks away. And we start talking, and I meet Chappice. And oh my gosh, you guys, Chappice has changed my life so, in such a impactful way. But it was just so natural. It was just her being her. Just me being able to see her living her life so just out loud. It was like, I felt like Chappice was like if somebody did a coloring and it just stepped out of the pages. Like, that's what I felt like. It was like she was just bright and she was colorful. She was wonderful. She was all of these things. And she had no fear, is how it felt to me. I felt like she had no fear. She was just out loud about pieces of her life where I had never seen anybody be out loud about them before. And she loves so freely and so wholly. And she was just like this breath of fresh air that I didn't even know I needed. And she took me in so instantly, and it was just incredible. And she was actually working with the Iowa Music Awards, which we didn't even know. So after Marco had reached out and got me involved, she actually messaged me and said, hey, you won a ticket to come to the Iowa Music Awards, because I had participated on a post she had done when we first became friends. And I said, hey, girl, put it back out there because I'm going to be presenting some awards there. And man, she was just, we met up that day, and we've been the best of friends ever since. And I love her entire family, seeing her family, seeing those kids, seeing her and her husband, like her mom, like her whole family, y'all. Like, they just opened up my world in ways that I really needed. And the conversations that we have are so easy. They're so free. There's no fear ever when I go to talk to her. And I just have had so many people that have changed my life in such a huge way. And I could talk about this all day. And I'm like, I shouldn't have named names because I could never possibly name everybody's name. I could never possibly give thanks to every single person that has helped me along this journey. But you will never not hear me saying their names for opportunities in rooms that they are not even in. And there are so many of you that don't even realize I'm using your name when you're not there, or I am putting you up for opportunities, or I am trying to connect you with other people because I see the magic in you and I see how much you've changed my life just by being you. When we went to Missouri, when we were in the Ozarks, the first people that I met there were so horrendous and so, they were like monsters, y'all. I didn't even know the degree to which their, like, just evilness truly lived within them and the way that they would harm people until we were there for a lot longer. But I picked up on it instantly and I wanted to leave. And then I walked into Papa Chubby's restaurant and bar and I worked there. And the people that I met there, customers, staff, everyone, and the higher ups, the people that own that, oh my God, like, you guys, some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. I felt so unsure. I felt like when we got to Missouri, I missed Arizona so much and I missed Iowa so much. So I was so frustrated because I either wanted to be in Arizona or I wanted to be in Iowa. I did not want to be sitting in the Ozarks. I did not. It was all the things that I wanted to get away from about Iowa with the weather and all of these other, the bugs, all of these other things without my people. And I wanted to go back to Arizona where I loved the weather and I loved the people, but I didn't want to be so far away from my people in Iowa. And I understood logically it felt like a good way to be close but not be there. But I did not want to be there. And then meeting them as the first people and just that first 3 weeks that I had to be around them, I was so depressed. I was like, get me out of here. And then I walked into that bar and I met Charlie and I met AJ and I met so many people. But when I met Charlie right away, Charlie was where I was like, oh, damn. There's people here. There's people here for me. And AJ was so nice when she met me when she hired me right away. But I had to get to know AJ. I had to like meet her. But Charlie, when she first met me and I said, I can't hear. And I was so nervous because my last experience working in a bar was horrendous. It was during COVID. I didn't have any hearing aids. I had the masks on, so I couldn't read anybody's lips. I was so scared. And everybody in that place was absolutely horrendous to me. The customers yelled at me. The staff just screamed at me. Somebody wouldn't show up and they just wouldn't let me leave. It was horrible. And I swore that I would never work in a bar or a restaurant again after I worked in Iowa at that last bar restaurant. And then I went to Papa Chubby's and I knew I wasn't working for the person that I was supposed to work for. So I said, whatever, I'll give it one more shot. We'll see how it goes. And Charlie heard me say that I had hearing loss. And she looks across the room at me and says, I know some sign. And she starts signing things that she learned on shows with her daughters. And she would go home and look upwards. And if my food was up, she'd be like, table 43, and signing at me across the way. She could do this whistle that I could hear no matter where I was. And I think it's because my dad had a similar whistle when I was a kid. And he would use it to call all of us in the neighborhood back home. And then I started working there and I got to know everyone, y'all. And everyone just like opened up with me. And it was just the best season of my life. And it was the most fun I've ever had. You take all of my bartending, all of my serving experience. That's decades, y'all. I was running bars and I was um, I was training staff. I've been in this industry since I could work, and all of it combined could not compete with Papa Chubby's. I've had some really fun experiences, but I've never had anything like Papa Chubby's. Every single person there just changed my whole life. And man, their drive to help each other out and to understand each other and to make things magical and to make things cohesive and a place you want to be. It was just it it was just home. And then we started going out with our friends Kaylee and Sam, and we started doing music videos. We did the music video out there, and that one is going to come out. It'll be pretty soon. It should be out within the next, I would say, month or two, if I'm doing math right up here. But a lot of them went and did the video, and we had so much fun. I went up to people that were there for the day and just said, hey, here's what we're doing. They took us out on their boats. They were like, oh God, you guys, when you see that video, I'll post it when it comes out. But it is so good. Noah Cold Saint, the artist behind it, I met him through T1, and I met him at the Iowa Music Awards. And he's just one of the kindest, best humans on the planet. When he reached out to us saying that he had a song that he wanted to do on the lake, there was no hesitation. We knew we would do whatever he needed for us to be able to help him out because of who he is as a person and how much we just appreciate who he is as a person. And to be able to connect one world with another world, oh my gosh, you guys, it was so beautiful. And anyone that can go down to the Ozarks, I'm 99.9% positive that a release party is going to happen in the Ozarks when it's time. So I will let you all know, but it would be so fun to have as many people as possible from all of my worlds come in and just hang and enjoy. Y'all, the whole point of this isn't to name drop, or it's not to give flowers to everybody individually. It's just to share, like, it really matters what you do. It really matters the energy you bring. It really matters who you are. Because none of these people know. They might have an idea, but none of these people know how much they truly changed my life. I mean, shoot, when I had to leave the Ozarks, we left because of the first people that I was speaking about. And thankfully, they are long gone from there now. They are no longer there to bring a black cloud over that place. But we had to leave because of them, because we could not, in good conscience, stay and see what they were doing. And I literally, when I was leaving that night, I cried. I cried all night. I had to go in the walk-in cooler like 8 different times because I couldn't believe this was my last shift. I couldn't believe it would all be different after this. And Kaylee and I just stood out in the parking lot and just cried and held each other. And that's the hardest part about traveling all over and going places, is I wish I could just keep all of these people that I love so much, and I could just like take all of them with me everywhere I go. And if I could do that, if my world was just me and these people, and we just traveled all over and did all these things, and I had the ability to just keep us all together, or to say, hey, go do your thing and we'll meet up back here And we met up and we hung out. Oh my gosh, you guys, that's my real dreams. That's my real dreams. Everywhere I've had to leave. Arizona, when I left Arizona, the park that I was working at literally gave me a standing ovation, and the room was just, I definitely was sobbing, and I went home and sobbed for hours. Like, I just have met the most beautiful people. Leaving Iowa every single time, I almost couldn't handle it because, as much as I was ready to explore, the fact that I couldn't take these people with me just killed me inside. But I've felt this ever since I was tiny. My mom told me that I was like 4 or 5 years old and I saw the movie E.T. And I was hysterical. It was the first time I'd ever cried at a movie. And my mom could not console me. And I kept saying, he wants to be there, but he wants to be there. And he can't be in both places. And I was just sobbing. It's like I've always had that pull to be in multiple places and to know that I can't be here if I want to be there or if I need to go there. And I've been internally conflicted with this my entire life. But I will say that going out on the road and having all these people in all of these different places has made me feel like maybe I didn't have to feel so heartbroken or torn. Maybe I just had to enjoy where I was in the present and soak it in for as long as I could have it. And trust that if it's meant for me, it'll come back together. However that looks, it can surprise me. And maybe one day we are all back together. Maybe that's what happens when we leave here. Maybe that dream I have of all of us, all of my beautiful souls that my soul knows is home instantly. Maybe there's nothing to fear because we all wind up back together. Thanks for being here, y'all. If you're listening to this, even if we haven't met yet, you're one of these people. You are different. You are special. You are rare. Stop sleeping on yourself. Stop sleeping on just how impactful you truly are. Walk around in that energy today, knowing that you're different, that you're beautiful, and that you make life better just by being here.